So this is Monday, the 2nd of November. Exciting. Ride with GPS. Alex, take it away.
Thanks, Michael. My name is Alex Gay. I'm with Ride with GPS. I'm the organization's account manager for them. So what my job entails is supporting cycling clubs, tour operators, event operators, and tourism bureaus who use our software for distributing their routes to a lot of people. And so Grizzly Peak Cyclists has a club account with us, and that allows any member of your club to be able to use some upgraded benefits on Ride with GPS for free, just routes that belong to Grizzly Peak Cyclists. So if you aren't familiar with Ride with GPS, in a nutshell, it's a cycling planning platform and navigation platform. We have a website and an app where you're able to plan routes and then navigate them so that you can get offline maps and turn-by-turn voice navigation. So let me pull up my screen and so just go over just a moment. Go over what we'll be talking about. So what Ride with GPS is, what the club account is, planning, using the app, and then questions. So let's go to what the club account is. Sorry. I just want to make sure that you can see my screen. Phil, can you give a thumbs up? Okay, thank you. So here's my homepage. And so I want to access the club account on our website. So I'm a member of Grizzly Peak Cyclists. And so I've logged into Ride with GPS, and I want to see where some places I could ride using the Grizzly Peaks route. So here on the left column, I see the Grizzly Peak Cyclist logo, and I can click that. Here I'll see the route library and a list of all of the club's routes that I'm able to use. So I'm able to view the route. If I want to save it to my phone to navigate on the app, I can click pin here in the upper left, and it's like bookmarking it to my account. So when I open the app, I'll see this route ready and available for me to use. If I use a Wahoo or a Garmin device, I'm also able to sync that to your device by pinning, and some other steps that we cover in some help documentation. Or if I want to export a file, I can click more here and click export as a file if I prefer having a hard copy. But back to the club account homepage. If there were events listed, I would see them here. There's a couple, but no upcoming events. This is an optional feature that isn't required. So so since I'm just a member, I don't have the ability to contribute routes to the club. That's something that route managers are able to do. And so if you wanted to be able to contribute routes to the club account, you would need to become a route manager.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Marianne. Phil and I are route managers. I haven't really done much, but I think the process is if you have a route you would like to contribute, add to the library, please send it over to me or Phil, and we will copy it over into our account. Phil, please correct me if I'm wrong.
All right, thank you. All right. You can also access the club on our app, and I'll show you how to do that after I talk about the route planner. So let's go to the route planner. So you'll find that up here at the top, click route planner, and how this works is you click on the map and it'll draw a line and it'll create a cue sheet, and it does a lot of stuff. So let's see what happens when I start clicking on the map. If I have put a home location into my account, I can just come up here to click enter a location and home. I can choose start route from here. Or if I wanted to start from anywhere else, I could click elsewhere on the map. But for today, let's start planning from here. So what I'll do is just start clicking and we'll see that route line generate. So we see our route line. Each of these blue flags represents a cue, and a cue is some type of turn direction, whether it's to tell you to turn right or to turn left, or the option to add a custom cue, which would give additional information that isn't provided from a map. And as you click, you'll see these cues also appear on the left column here on the cue sheet. And as you hover over those different cues, you'll see where they are as they lie on the map. I'm able to click and drag the route line if I want to follow a different road that I think is better than what the route planner thinks, to make it fit to my needs. All right, but now I want to do some other things. So let's say this map doesn't quite have the detail I want. That's why I can come up here to the right column and choose this drop down. So I can start here, and this is Google Map style, as well as there are a couple other terrain, satellite, hybrid options. So these top four you see, they come from Google. All the other ones, so the RWGPS and all the way down, these come from OpenStreetMaps. So OpenStreetMaps is an open source mapping program. And so we offer the ability to use both. Now you might find different information on different maps. And that typically comes from when you're switching between a Google map and an OpenStreetMap option. Some of that information might also be which roads it likes to follow. And I will show you an example that's local to you all in a little bit. So I'm clicking on my map and I make a mistake. I just come up here and undo, go back a couple steps, or again, clicking redo to go forward. If I want to start over from scratch, I can click clear map and the whole route will go away. Coming down on the right column, there's some different tools. So add to route is what you'll need to select if you want to continue to keep adding the route to the map and keep planning. Pretty straightforward. If I've selected a different one of these and try and click on the map, nothing will happen. So if I can click back to add to route, I can continue the plan. Go to control point. So control points are these white dots that show up on the map, like here. Then these just indicate where I've clicked. And what they do is constrain the route between these 2 points. So if I were to click and drag this length of the route, only the length of the route between those 2 points will be impacted. So nothing on either side of those control points will go away, will be shifted. Now, if I click control point, what I can do is click to remove those control points. And so now I've removed those. And when I click and drag, we'll see bigger changes to that route line. And if I need to make a really precise change, I can add control points and then again, click and drag so that it only impacts between this length of the route. I'm going to come back to these other 2 options. So everything I've shown you so far are free tools that don't require a premium subscription. So now I'll click routing. So this is how you can dictate what rules of the road to follow. Cycling is going to follow bike infrastructure, more quiet streets, follow popular places that a lot of our users already go. Driving is going to follow the rules that a car would follow. So it will also emphasize usually higher traffic streets. It can also route you on highways. Take note of that. And walking follows the rule of pedestrians. So it will route you on any place where someone on foot can go, including walking trails. And it can also disobey one-way streets. So you're able to go opposite of a one-way street. Next to it is draw lines. And this is a tool that comes in handy when perhaps you're cutting across a grass field, or there's missing infrastructure on a map. So maybe there's a new bike path that's not quite on the maps that we use, but you know it's there and you know that it's rideable. So you can use draw lines and click on the map and say cut across here because I know there's a path across this park and connect here and out. And then I can click follow roads again and continue to have queues being created. So back here, custom queue, this is a paid feature. But note when I use draw lines, there's no queues that are added since there's no routing information to tell us to turn left across this field. So what I can do is click on the map and have it say slight left, give a direction like turn left onto field and towards. I add that, and then that's added to our queue sheet somewhere down here. So adding a custom queue is a premium feature. And then another one of those premium features is the ability to add points of interest. So I'll click drop POI. And if I know there's a water fountain here, I can click on the map, choose the drop down, and type in what it is. All right. Now you can, if you put it in the wrong spot and you know it's over here, you can click and drag it. POI aren't announced if you're navigating a route on our app. So if you wanted to make note of the water fountain, for example, you can add another custom queue, click on the map, and you can choose the water queue and say, okay. So coming down here, here's some other tools like reverse route. This is going to redraw the route backwards from where I am ending. Now it may not make a mirror image based on the routing rules of the map. So let's see what happens when I click reverse route and see if it changes. All right, so it looks pretty similar, but if I were, maybe in like downtown where there's a lot of one-way streets, it might shift over to a different block than you had originally plotted on.
Hey, Alex, excuse me a second. We got a question, and since you're on custom queues, the question is from Marianne. How do all the queue icons appear on the map automatically? I only see them when I add a custom queue.
Okay, yeah, so up here at settings, here's this option for queue icons that you can toggle off and on. And yeah, sometimes when you do add a custom queue, that will show up despite the other automatically added queues not showing up. Good, thanks, cool. Yeah, so yeah, along with a number of other things, you can toggle off and on points of interest. You'll see the water go away. I can turn on my distance markers. And some other options down here. So if you don't want to use your scroll wheel, you can disable that. Or then if you don't want to create a queue sheet at all, when you click, you can deselect generate queue sheet. I don't generally recommend that, but some people prefer that. So yeah, that's found up here. All right, so let's clean that up. So yeah, out and back, good for if you're doing just an out and back and you don't want to replan the route going backwards, but also note that it might not be a mirror image of the original route. So just you might need to take note of that as you when you use this option. Duplicate will just make an additional copy of the route. So if I click duplicate, I'll have these two here. And so if I wanted to work with multiple versions of a route, if I knew there were going to be a long and short option, but they use a bulk of the route that's similar, then you can duplicate it and then make adjustments where necessary, either by clicking and dragging or by using another tool I'll get to. And then splitting the route. This is a way to cut a route into pieces. So I click split route, and now I can either click on the map where I want to split it, like that, or I could click on the elevation profile. So you see as I scrub along the elevation profile, my blue dot indicates the location on the map. So I'll click split route again and click here on the map. So now I have this route and this route. So I can edit this route and it won't impact this other route. So splitting the route is a really handy tool for if you wanted to change the location on a loop. So this is these two routes make a loop if you put them together. So originally we had it starting up here, and so now that I've split it, so I have it, so I see the start icon up here, but I want to move it down here. So I split the route. You see we have these two pieces, and now I can zoom in and we'll see this green dot here. And when I click this, it's going to join everything together. So now the start is down here. So I click split route, and I clicked on the map, and let's say we'll move it over here now. And then I'll select here on the left column and see that this is my new preferred starting point. And I'll come down to where this green dot is and click that. So this is a pretty common question we get about how to move a loop, how to move the start on a loop. So yeah, it's just done with the split route tool. Trace is another really popular feature, and this is what allows you to add a cue sheet to a route that doesn't already have one. So let's say you recorded a ride and you really liked it and you wanted to add a cue sheet to it so you could navigate it again and share it with your friends. You'd want to click the trace button. And I'll have the option to either auto trace or manual trace. So what auto trace will do is just automatically trace the route, and it'll think for a moment and add a cue sheet on the left column. We already had a cue sheet since this was a route that we planned. Or if I wanted to manually trace a route, I would click manual trace. You'll see that the route line turns gray just to use as a template for me to follow. So I can click to follow the original version, but there's nothing keeping you from staying on that. So if you wanted to use the route for inspiration for something else, you can go off the map. And you can continue down if you know you wanted to avoid, say, this section of the route. And then when that looks good, you can click add to route and keep planning something else. Keep going. Okay. So let me just clean this up a little bit. Okay. So then down here, selection tools. This is a way to do some bulk changes to the route. The first one is delete selection. And with each of these, there's two ways to make your selection. One is by clicking and dragging on the elevation profile, like this. And the other would be to click selection tools, choose which tool I wanted to use. So delete selection in this case. And then what I can do is click on the first point I want it to start and the end point. And see that that looks good, and then confirm that by clicking delete selection. And so in the case of this tool, what it does is it removes that part of the route that I had selected. So now it's gone. And this route is in two pieces, like we did when we split it before. So now what I can do is, instead of following the route that it had originally gone, let's say I wanted to extend it further down this way. And then we'll link up with the original back half of the route by clicking in that green dot. And now it's all linked up together. So we have a bigger loop down here. So other selection tools, we have the option to flatten elevation. This is handy when, let's say you're going over a body of water on a high bridge. So let's go all the way over here and I'll show you how that works. So here's a high bridge, or further down. A high bridge in the Portland area. And let's see. So the elevation is lower here because the elevation is gathered by satellite scans of the Earth. And so it thinks that, you know, you're at basically sea level as you come across the bridge, even though you're a couple hundred feet above the water. So if I wanted to make my elevation profile more accurate, I can choose to flatten elevation and click on the 2 points I want to. Hold on, just a second. So I'll click flatten elevation and click on these 2 points. And if I need to make some adjustments here, you'll see that there's this dip, and that just represents that elevation scan. And then click flatten, and then it's, let's see, oops. Now it's been flattened from the 2 points that we connected it between. You're also able to change the color just by, so this is already selected. So I can make it pink if I'd like. And then any of these other colors to choose from. Like these. Removing control points is similar to removing them using this option, but you're able to select a large swath of the route. So I would just choose that option on the left column, and I can use the elevation profile. And when I do that, all the control points from that section go away. And now if I wanted to make a big sweeping change to this route, I can do that by clicking and dragging on the route line. Exclusion metric is if, say, part of your bike ride was taking a ferry, you can select the length of that ferry ride, so it's not reflected in the overall riding total, mileage totals of that ride. And then crop is a way to cut out anything but what you selected. So let me just select this part of the route, and crop it. And you'll see that the section from here and the section here are gone. So now I just have this length of the route remaining. Okay.
Alex,
Yeah.
can you undo the crop?
Yeah. Like that. And
Cool.
then you can redo it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So a couple other things. Someone had a question about joining two routes together. So let me show you how to do that. So up here is import existing. And so I can choose any of my rides or routes, or also anything that is public on our site. So whether it's a public ride or public route. So you can search for that up here. You can also click upload file to directly upload a file to the route planner. And then you'd be able to save it to your to your account. And let's say that was a file from a different route planner. You would want to then trace it because it probably doesn't have a cue sheet. Okay, so here I want to take this ride and sort of merge it into what I have already planned. So I'm going to click my ride, and I'll click add to planner. All right, so I know I want to start here and then actually end up coming down and linking with this. So I have my two options here on the left. I'm gonna make sure I've got my starting point. This one has the green indicator to show that that's where I'm starting from. So let me just select the part of the route I want to remove and click delete selection. And then I can plan my route aiming for the green dot. And now they're all joined. Now they're both joined together. All right.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
Michael here. We had a number of questions. I wanted to let you get through the route tools. Is this an okay time to ask some questions?
Yeah, let me pull up the chat.
Okay. Yeah, let's see, I think you can pick it up. 722, Chris asked if you could give us a summary of features that are premium and which are not.
Sure, yeah. So we have 3 tiers of subscription. There's free, basic, and premium. Free allows you to plan routes on the website with a lot of the tools that I've shown you. Some of the things I've shown you are premium. So you can plan routes on the website and you can record rides on the app. You're also able to export files if you have a Garmin or Wahoo. Basic is the first paid tier, and that is really mobile focused. So you're able to download routes offline to the app. You're able to get voice navigation on those routes on the app. And you're also able to use the mobile route planner on the app. It also unlocks advanced turn notifications for Garmin files. So rather than hearing the cue at the intersection, you can get it to be so that it's early. You get estimated time. So once you have some rides recorded on your profile, we would start estimating how long the ride would take the route would take when you're following it. And you're also able to get PDF map and cue sheets printed. Premium unlocks the same mobile features, but also a lot of website features. So the advanced route planning tools. So things like tracing, splitting, deleting selection, adding POI, adding custom cues, using import existing, using add new. Other premium features are archiving. You can archive your routes. So like if you have a Wahoo, that's a good way to prevent having, and you have a lot of routes on your account, it prevents having to sync all of them, which can be time consuming if you have a lot of routes. You're able to use the ride center, which is kind of a way to do bulk operations on your rides, whether it's making them all private or public all at once, and some other things. Yeah, so yeah, the premium is website focused with the mobile features as well. Basic is mobile focused. And
Great.
I
think the next question, yeah, had to do about Q sheets. Are you tracking that there? I don't need to read it if you got it.
Yeah, I have it in front of me now. Yeah,
Okay.
so there are, so let's save this. Let's call it, and now I want to view it. So this question is about Q sheets. And so you're able to print a PDF map in Q sheet. So I'll come up to click more and print map in Q PDF. And this is how you can configure your layout of the Q sheet. So here are the Q sheet options. And this question is to get 2 columns instead of a single column. And so here you're able to make it either 1 by 2, 1 by 1, 2 by 1, or 2 by 2. And so let's do is it 1 row, 2 columns, or is it 2 rows and 1 column? And then these different options of what you want in the Q sheet. But I'll just click submit and see what happens. Here's a PDF. All right, so now there's 2 rows and 1 column. So if I just swapped 1 for 2, we'll see that it'd be 2 columns and 1 row. Here we go. So now there's 2 columns. If this was 2 by 2, it turns into you can fold it into quarters, and it's just it's a little smaller and easy to put in your pocket or onto your Q sheet holder on your handlebars. If I miss a turn, will it redirect you back on your route? No, but soon we will. That is kind of the next big mobile feature that we'll be releasing. So it'll give you the option. It'll say you're off course. Do you want to generate us? You want us to generate a route to get you back on course? And you would have the option to say yes or no. So that's coming up soon. I don't know exactly when.
Alex, does that also apply to a Garmin or a Wahoo, or just to phones?
It would just be on the phone app. Garmin has an automatic reroute option that's pretty aggressive, and we don't generally recommend having that on. And Wahoo doesn't have that option. I have a question about the inclusion of small, narrow trails. I encountered RWGPS routing onto a mountain bike level single track. Is that common? I don't want to say it's common, but it's possible, just given, since it has, it's been tagged as bike infrastructure, we might want to emphasize using that, even though it might not make sense on your road bike or your gravel bike. So that's a good reason to scrutinize the routes before using it. There's a tool on the route planner called the Q review that I think is worth calling out in an instant like that, down here where it says review queues. And this is a paid feature, but what it does is walk you through each queue individually, and you can confirm that it is accurate and it is correct, and it takes me on a road or path that I want to actually be on. So there's things we want to do about, creating like rider profiles. Like I'm a roadie today. I want to make a road route, or I'm planning a route that would actually want to take mountain bike trails. So those are all things that we intend to work on and improve upon. So can you bring a Google Map route into Ride with GPS? From Google Maps, no. Google, I think the feature is called My Maps on Google, and it's buried, but there's an option to export a KML file, which is their version of a GPX file, essentially. And then you can import that. Every time I try and find it, I forget, and I just end up taking more time than just planning the route. So it's difficult, and they make it hard to do that. But it is possible. So do I have a club login for Ride with GPS? No, you would log in with your personal account to your Wahoo app, or when you're syncing your Wahoo app, you would want to use your personal email address that you've created with your Ride with GPS profile. And then if you wanted to use a club route on your Wahoo, for example, you would pin it. So up here is the option to pin. This is also available on the app. When you're viewing the route, you can tap the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner and tap pin. And then the next time you sync your Wahoo, it will show up under your starred routes on the Wahoo. So there's no club specific login for the Wahoo. Okay. So Marianne's comment about benefits of the club account. Yeah, so you're able to navigate club routes on our app for free and download them on our app for free. You also get estimated time on club's routes. You'll also be able to print PDF maps and cue sheets on club routes. Your club membership only is exclusive to the club's routes. Those benefits don't extend to your personal account. So if you're a club member with GPC, you aren't able to get offline maps on a route that you've planned yourself that's not in the club library, or a route that you found on our website from another user. How do I look up routes? On the website, you're able to click Find here at the top, and then enter your starting location and how far you want to search within, and other parameters like keyword and length and elevation. One thing I'd encourage you to do is click routes with cue sheets here, and that just makes sure it shows up routes with cue sheets instead of people's rides, where rides won't have a cue sheet. That leads into something that I wanted to talk about, and is the difference between routes and rides. Routes are plans for a ride, so something that you would be following while you're pedaling your bike. And then a ride is a recording of that. So a route has a cue sheet. A ride won't have a cue sheet. A ride will have time recording and your speed, whereas a route wouldn't have time recording or speed. So the route is the plan for the route, to what you're going to do, and the ride is just the recording of what you did.
Can I say something about that, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've put a number of routes in the club's library, and one of the ways I've identified some of the routes is with tagging them. I think that's an important way of doing searches. Once you join the club and look at the club library, look for tags.
Yeah, so I'll show you what that looks like. So here we're on the club route library, and So these are all the tag. This is the tag column. These are all the different tags. And you can also filter by tag here. Yeah. Good. Okay, cool. There was a question about how to difference in getting the question was about Strava's route planner versus our route planner. That question is I'd like to address that, and the answer isn't about Strava versus Ride with GPS. The answer is OpenStreetMaps versus Google. So as I mentioned before, Ride with GPS uses OpenStreetMaps and Google. You have the option whether you're using these maps or these maps. And so I'll show you. So starting from Central Berkeley and then going to Mount Tam viewpoint here. So I've selected map, and that's a Google map style. And I'll just do a one-click route, and it does this route. And now, if we compare that to what Strava shows and what we show when we use OpenStreetMaps, I'll click Add New to show you them side by side. So I'll come over here, I'll change my map style to Ride with GPS, and this is going to follow different rules than what Google says. So Google has one way that's they think is the best to get from Berkeley to the top of Mount Tam, and then OpenStreetMaps thinks otherwise. So here, Google, this is an incredibly steep trail. And this is a little bit more roundabout, a little bit more climbing overall, but avoids this steep, what looks like a walking trail. That's something to consider when, if you think that's too much, this is too much, too steep of a climb, which it is a really big climb. Let's see, almost 1,900 feet and 2.3 miles versus a bit more gradual of a climb over longer distance. So that is a good question, and it's not specific to Strava versus Ride with GPS. It's OpenStreetMaps versus Google Maps, and so Strava doesn't utilize Google Maps anymore, but we still have the option for both. Okay, so all right, here's this is my phone. Someone just give a thumbs up that you can see that. Good, all right, thanks. Okay, so here is my app. This is the Ride with GPS app. I'm gonna swipe down to sync it, and here's the here is the route we just planned. Let me and so if I wanted to download it for offline use, I can tap download in the bottom left, and it's gonna save it to my offline routes. And if I tap downloading, I'll see its progress saved to my offline section. I want to keep the screen on while it's downloading, otherwise it will pause. I think that's only specific to iOS versus Android, but good to keep it on either way, just to be sure. So I'll view the route again. And when I'm ready to ride, I can tap navigate. And, oops, and I'll see my location. And once I get a GPS lock, I'll be able to see the cue sheet and the elevation profile for the route. I might not be able to since I'm inside my house. Oh, there we got it. Okay, so down here, here's the option for cue sheet and elevation. I can tap to expand it and see the different cues. And then when you're done recording your ride, you can press and hold the pause button and give it a title and save it. So let's go to the club. So if I'm a club member and I have recorded rides on my account, I'll see my clubs down here. I'm part of a lot of clubs, but I'll see Grizzly Peak. I can tap it and I can view all the routes. And I'm able to download and navigate any of these for free since I'm a club member. If I don't have any rides recorded yet, that's okay. I can always tap more here on the bottom left. Tap organizations. It might say clubs here at the top. I'll do that again. Might say clubs in your case, but then I can see Grizzly Peaks and again, view the routes and download and navigate any of these. Okay, so that covered everything I wanted to. Are there any other questions that I can answer?
And folks, feel free to unmute yourself. I know there was a question about loading number of routes.
Yeah, that would be an option for route managers only. But that's something that we would do for you. It's just a matter of emailing us and we would handle that on our end. As an individual, you're able to add one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we could pool them up or somehow, make it efficient like that.
Yeah. You'd be able to add, you could add them all to a collection and then ask us to transfer it from the collection.
Oh, super.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Christine.
What's a collection?
What's a collection? A collection is a folder, essentially. And so you have them on your personal account. So here on the left, you also have them on your club. And we'll be doing something with club collections soon. So I'll show you here. I'm part of the RWGPS cycling club. And since I'm a route manager, I can sign into the club. And when I do that, I'll see collections. And collections are a way to just group routes together. And so like this one, for example, we'll see those different routes on the map. And I can click on a route and see some information about it. I'll see the list of routes down here. Currently, club collections are private and only visible to route managers unless they're shared. We'll be changing that soon so that you'll be able to manage the privacy as a route manager. And then if they're visible to members or the public, then you'd be able to see them. You'd also be able to see them in the app when you view the club's account in the app. So for the route managers, think about if you'd like to group them together, It's just a good way to organize your, whether they're your climbing rides, your gravel rides, or really any way that you want to categorize them. And we'll be also doing some things to promote those collections on our find page if they're good collections. So that would give good exposure to you as a club, and to any potential visitors to the Bay Area who want to do some good writing.
Hey, Alex, I just want to jump in. I know we are just about at the top of the hour here. I want to be respectful of your time and others. There was one quick question. Maybe we can, how to plan it out with a starting and ending address?
Yeah. So here at Enter a Location, you're able to, so you can, if you have your home location set, that's set through your profile settings, and that would just be, you come up here and click settings, and then there's an option to add it there. So I already have my home location set, but let's say I wanted to start from this address. I'll click start route here. And then I wanted to type in an ending address or a place name. I don't know any addresses around here. Let's see what happens when I type in. Oh. So then I can choose to route to here. That was lucky. Or then if I want to keep doing that, I can type in, if I knew a latitude and longitude coordinate, I could add it to this. If I knew a place name, like this is a place that might show up, right? Oh, so it searches, I believe it searches for the nearest place with that name. So there's a feels close by.
Fantastic.
Another thing, real quick, you can use the right click on your mouse and use all of these tools. Or if you right click on the route line, there's some more tools like adding custom queue, adding control point, adding POI, splitting route, showing lat long. That's a handy tool if you needed to reference that for any reason. Or then showing street view.
Oh, that's something I didn't know about. That's awesome.
And then there's also the Google Street View person that you can drag onto the map as well. So anywhere that it's blue is has been mapped.
All right. Hey, Alex, I just want to thank you very much and just wrap this up. I know there's a lot of interest, and Phil Morton is our library master. So direct questions there. I really appreciate your making the time, in the evening after work to come and join us. This is great. We had about 35 people, so get people inspired to make use of the tool. Thank you all very much, everyone, for joining. I put a URL in, and MJ just updated it. So we're doing a little post survey. And our next event is on the 19th. Alex, thanks again. Good night, everyone. This has been fantastic. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.